Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to share the best books that I read this summer. Clearly I am ready for fall, but before I jump into fall, I wanted to go ahead and share the favorite books that I read in summer. So we're talking about June, July, and August. These are my 5-star reads. I have 6 books to talk to you about today, and I'm excited about all of them. So I highly recommend every single book that I'm going to be talking to you about today. First up on the stack is At First Spite by Olivia Dade. This is a rom-com. I love Olivia Dade. I went to an author event for this book. This book made me cry. It was so emotional. There was definitely depth to the story. I loved how each of the characters were there for each other despite the rocky beginning. So in this one you have Athena, who is engaged to be married to this great guy, and she's always heard about his horrible brother. But through a series of events, that brother told her fiance, like, I don't think you should marry her, you know, and all of this stuff. Well, they don't end up getting married, and he takes off and she moves in right next door to her ex-fiance. And right across the road from that is the brother, who she also happened to meet at the engagement party, or was it the wedding party? And they kind of hit it off. They had a vibe, and I was just like, like, this is not gonna be good. But they start kind of just like helping each other out. Like, he's helping her, she's trying not to like help him, but the lengths that this man goes to for her is so amazing. When Athena Graydon's fiance ends their engagement, she has no choice but to move into Spite House. She recklessly bought him as a wedding gift, which is a problem for several reasons. The house, originally built as a brick middle finger to the neighbors, is only 10 feet wide. Her ex's home is literally attached to hers, and Dr. Matthew Vine, the freaking third, aka the uptight judgy jerk who convinced his younger brother Johnny to leave her, is living on the other side, only a 4-foot alley away. So if you're looking for something fun, emotional, and swoony, I highly recommend At First Spite by Olivia Dade. Next up on the stack is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And if you watched any of my videos last year, if you watched my top 10 from last year, you know I absolutely loved The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. But now I'm moving on to The Inheritance Games, and this book is so fun. And if you've read The Naturals and you like that series, I definitely think you would like this series, because it is very similar, as in like the setup, the writing. Charlie, a lot of it feels familiar, like in a good way. But the plot of this one, you follow this young girl named Avery Kylie Grahams, and she unexpectedly inherits billions of dollars from a guy that she's never met before. And his 4 grandsons, the Hawthorne brothers, have a few things to say about that. But throughout the novel, there's a bunch of games and riddles and like puzzles, and I absolutely love that type of storyline. And just the house itself, Hawthorne House, is very like multi-layered. The Tobias always like built onto it every single year, and it has like all of these cool unique features, hidden passageways, and just like things built into the house. But yeah, I absolutely love this. There's a brewing romance in here. It says Avery Grahams has a plan for a better future: survive high school, win a scholarship, and get out. But her luck changes in an instant when billionaire Tobias Hawthorne dies and leaves her virtually his entire fortune. So highly recommend this. As you can see, I had a lot of fun reading this. I have continued in the series. I just finished the 3rd book. What a freaking ride, you guys. All right, the 3rd book on my best books of summer is The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth. This is I believe the first book that I've given 5 stars by Sally Hepworth. It was just like unexpectedly my favorite. I just thought the characters were so unique and so different. The plot was a little predictable, but just her writing was great. The flow of the story was great. The multiple POVs was great. And again, the characters. I have an entire episode on my podcast, which is always linked down below. It's called Talk Bookish to Me Podcast. And I recently did an author spotlight of Sally Hepworth and all of her books that she's written up like to her current stuff. So if you're interested in Sally Hepworth as an author, wondering like where you should start or which ones were my favorite, I also had Keisha on that episode. So yeah, we talked all things Sally Hepworth. It was a really fun episode, but yeah, this one was just so, I don't know, I read it so quickly. I was obsessed with finding out what was going on. There was a part in the story that I was like, this is what's happening. And that was what was happening. But I think the reason why she wrote it that way was like intentional. And I appreciate that. So if you have not picked up The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth, I highly recommend. This one, let's see. So you have the husband, a heart surgeon at the top of his field, the daughters, Tully and Rachel Aston, and then you have the former wife, their mother, in a precarious position, and then you have the younger wife. So their dad is literally getting married to this woman that's like younger than even the kids, but the mom they're still married. So it's an interesting situation, and seeing it all unfold, it is emotional too, for sure. But cannot recommend it enough. All right, next on the stack, you guys, love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. Yes, these are bricks. They are so worth it. You will read through it so quickly. They're just so bingeable. The characters, the pining, the romance, the little bit of spice you get, but it's not just like spice for spice's sake. Like it definitely is like a slow burn to the spice, but once you get there, you are ready for it. But this one follows Raphael and Ellie, and Raphael obviously is a billionaire and Ellie is the nanny to his son. This one also has like deeper themes and topics, not only with like what Ellie's going through, but what Raphael's son's going through. And if any man does the things that Raphael does, he's A-okay in my book. So highly recommend this one. So you have Ellie Sinclair as a hopeless romantic who writes love songs. And then Raphael is a struggling workaholic that could inspire 100 breakup albums. On paper, they have nothing in common except for his son. For 8 months, I envoyed her until our summer trip. 14 days, 2 islands, and 1 nanny I shouldn't be attracted to. But he is, and it's great. I highly recommend. So this is the second book in the Lakefront Billionaire series, and I read the fine print series. What was that called? Dreamland Billionaires. It was okay. First book, I think I gave 3 stars. Second book, I gave 4 stars. Third book, I gave 5 stars. And both books 1 and 2 in this series have been 5 stars. So I would recommend reading these. However, they're kind of like a universe. Even her like Formula Racing one, it's like the Throttled series. I don't know what the series is called, but Throttled is the first book. There's characters from that pop up in other books. So you may want to start there, then read Dreamland Billionaires, and then read this. But like, you don't have to. You don't have to enjoy it. But I recommend, because they're really, really good, and you're gonna fly through it anyway. Next up on the stack is The Light Pirate by Lily Brooks Dalton, and wow, oh wow. When I initially finished it, I gave it a 4-star, but I was on the Libranauts discussion, which is my friend Elise's book club. So I'm gonna have her channel linked down below. She has a sci-fi book club called Libranauts. She does it on her channel, like the discussions and stuff, but she also has an Instagram. So if you are into sci-fi, or even if you're not into sci-fi, but you're trying to get into it, or you're curious about it, highly recommend. But The Light Pirates was just so fun and so engaging, and the writing was beautiful. And I didn't really know the synopsis going into this one, except for it was about like climate change and stuff. And that's all you really have to know. But it follows this family, specifically this one girl, as you see her from like when she's born up until older age. But you see what the weather and change has done to her small town in Florida, and how she has adapted, how other people have adapted. And it's so interesting. If you like dystopian stories, if you like shows like The Walking Dead, like, I would recommend this. I also think the writing and the atmosphere was giving me a little bit of Where the Crawdads Sing. Have not read that, have not watched the show, but the vibes that I get from it were in here. Yeah, it was just, go check out the book discussion. Definitely check out the book. It has a very high average star rating on Goodreads, and it is so well deserved. This book does not get enough love, and it really, really should. Now, the ending, the last part, was not my favorite, but like, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And we still got some meat to the story at the end. It wasn't just fluff or anything like that. So lots of like, what would I do in this situation type thoughts while I was reading this. I just loved discussing it, reading it, the characters, the plot, the writing. It was all wonderful. It was all great. Yeah, highly recommend this one. I also think if you're like a literary fiction reader, general fiction reader, you would like this one. Okay, and last but not least on the stack is The Same Bright Stars by Ethan Joella. And guys, I completely took a chance on this book because I've never read anything by Ethan Joella. It was a book of the month pick, obviously, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a chance on it because it sounded good, you know, it sounded decent. I was like, all right. But guys, when I tell you again, the writing, it doesn't have a big plot. It's much more character focused, and that, you guys know, I'm a character, I'm not a character girly. I'm a plot driven reader. I love a good plot, and it does have a slight plot, but it's more about the main character and just their slice of life, like what's happening in their life at this time. And the love letter to Rehoboth Beach in this book is so heartwarming. Like, I feel like I could go to Rehoboth Beach and like know people there. They're characters from this book, right? I mean, so this one is 3 generations of Schmidts have run their family's namesake beachfront restaurant, and Jack, our main character, has been at the helm since the death of his father. Jack puts the demands of the restaurant above all else, so he's kind of a workaholic. He can't remember the last time he sat on the beach or even enjoyed a moment to himself. Meanwhile, the Del Dine Company has been snatching up popular eateries along the stretch of coast and is pursuing Jack with a generous offer to take over Schmidt's. So that's basically what the plot of this one is he's trying to decide, like, do I finally sell and have the money to retire? But I'm putting out all my employees, and this is really changing like this area of this town that I love, and do I want to do that? And so it's just a lot of like internal battle and thoughts and emotion. But the writing, oh, the writing is absolutely stunning, and it's short. It's under 300. Let's see how long it is exactly. 283 pages. You don't have to read this in summer, but I think it would make it extra special if you do read it in summer, because it definitely has that like beachfront town vibe to it. And they do talk about like going to the beach and stuff, but it's mainly about the restaurant and the people that work there and then he's become friends with, and just like all of that. So Highly recommend. I loved it so much that I went back and got a copy of A Little Hope because I'm hoping that it is uplifting and emotional as well. So yeah, this is just a local restaurant owner at a turning point in his life. How does it all go down? So those are my favorite books. Let's take a look at them one more time. These are my 5-star reads from this summer. At First Bite by Olivia Dade, The Inheritance Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth, Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher, The Light Pirate by Lily Brooks Dalton, and The Same Bright Stars by Ethan Joella. So 6 books that you need to bump up on your TBR. And yeah, that's all for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite book is that you read this summer. If I had to choose, I really couldn't, so don't ask me. But so maybe you could just tell me a favorite from like June, July, and August. But if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave the sunshine emoji for like the end of summer, you know. But yeah, I'll be back with another seasonal favorites video at the end of fall. So I'll see you then. Bye, friends.